are in Senate Judiciary. It's January 14th. Sorry, we're a couple minutes late. That was my fault. Today, we are going to take a introduction to S-183, introduced by Vice Chair Senator Norris. Senator Norris is going to provide a general overview, and I believe we have his constituent on the Zoom who will provide her experience that we prompted this bill. So, and then we will also have Bill Childs come in at a later date. Bless you.
Thank you.
We have to make some agenda rearrangements, but we will be revisiting this bill a bit more in depth later on. The Senator Norris, if you'd like to introduce the bill and then your constituent, we can take it there.
Sure. Good morning. The bill we're looking at there.
One second.
Or just let me let him.
Is she?
She's in the meeting.
Yeah, if you could let her in just so that she could watch. Yeah, thank you real quick. Good morning, Ms. Merchant. Can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Thank you. So sorry, we're just a few minutes behind. Our committee just started, and Senator Norris is just going to introduce what the bill does. Then he'll introduce you here in a few minutes, and then we can hear about your story and your experience as to how this bill came to be. So thanks for joining us.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning, Tammy.
Morning, Bob.
So this is Senate Bill 183. I was approached by Tammy in 2025 in reference to an incident that took place at her property. What S 183 does is crimes against home improvement and land improvement fraud. The bill proposes to require the person knowingly, which is the keyword here, knowingly intends to defraud a client whom the person has entered an agreement or contract for home or land improvement. As it stands now, I guess I say it's a simple bill because every time we say that, it turns out to not be a simple bill. But there's no recourse presently, as Tammy will testify to in reference to fraud. It's a civil claim. I know that Chair Lalonde in the House Judiciary was also looking at. He's sitting on one of these bills here, so there seems to be no recourse other than taking someone to court civilly and expending more monies after you lost a lot of monies. And on page 3, anytime someone promises to perform, a person does not intend to perform and knows her will not be performed in whole or in part. So what we're trying to do in this bill, obviously, Michelle is, our alleged counsel is not here to walk us through this. We're trying to make this criminal in nature versus civil appeal within the court system here. So, and Tammy can explain as to why we're here today.
Great. Thank you. Tammy, it's the floor is yours.
Okay. Yeah, this started actually in September of 22 is when we were told that he was no longer in business due to financial reasons. So we had already at that point given him $13,386 when we signed the contract quote May of 2021 or 22. It had everything. I mean, I have copies of the quote, the signed checks, everything for work that was to be started no later than July. We needed to order a special window, and that's why we needed the money, earlier. So we gave him half the deposit. It was supposed to be a full outside renovation, totaling around $33,000. So we gave half, and we left on, I think it was May 9th. Handshake, everything signed, checks gone. And then every, so often my husband or I would check in with him and, yep, we're running a little late. You're on the next, you're the next house, over and over and over. Never did he come back to our house after we gave him the check, because he was so busy. So we, and the sad thing is he lives, like, we can almost see his house from our house. So, I mean, it was always like, passing on the road and yep, you're the next on the list. And then in August, we had started to hear, murmurs of, oh, he's not doing work anymore. He's out of business. And then we actually started getting bombarded by people saying that, his work, he is only, half does it, if he does it at all. He'll order stuff, but not do it. So in September, we set a firm meeting, and said, we need to meet to go over what's going on, or basically we want our money back. The contract hadn't been fulfilled. Um, so it was, I want to say the end of September, we got the text message saying that, we are no longer in business due to financial reasons and our lawyer will be in touch with you. So after that, we heard nothing. My husband and I went, and tried to, sue him to get our money back. And Tim Horlbutt's office, served him. They had, I believe it was until the beginning of January to respond. Well, at the beginning of January, he filed for bankruptcy. So our hands were tied. And then I started getting reached out to from other people that he had done this to. We met with the state's attorney, or Diane Wheeler and Kelly Woodward, and they were going to go after him criminally. So all this time, we would go to court cases, on Zoom, of course, because they didn't want us in the courtroom with him. They put like a restraining order against him so he could have no contact with us. And on one of the meetings, I specifically asked about that specialized window that was taking 6 weeks that needed to be ordered ASAP. And I have recording that, oh, I never ordered it. So that prompted me to say, oh, so you never planned on doing it. If we're the next on the line and he didn't even order the pieces that were needed. We actually have going 2023, there was a couple plea deals. He put his house up for sale, but they always fell through. And then at the end of 24, Diane Wheeler, and Kelly called myself and my husband, and we worked out there was going to be a plea deal. They were going to drop his wife from the proceeds. He was going to take full responsibility. Their house was almost sold, and we were going to get paid in full. But that was the end of it. We could no longer do anything else, which we all signed. It was supposed to be handled in October. And then all of a sudden, nothing, cricket. His house didn't sell. And then we got the notification that the Supreme Court had overturned the other home improvement fraud lawsuit. And as soon as that came through, lo and behold, his house sold. So, and now we've just been in limbo. And it's just, in my opinion, he never had any intention of doing it. Super salesperson, very personable. Meeting him would never think that he would do this to somebody. I mean, we had asked for references. We went and saw some of his work, but miraculously, no one was ever home when we got to those houses. So I don't know if it was even his work or if he just, it was family. But since September of 22, we have not heard anything directly from him or his wife. And they were the ones that had reached out to us originally. I had put a notice out on Front Porch Forum for the Sheldon Fairfield. It's asking for local carpenters, local vendors, because we wanted to keep our money locally. And his wife reached out to us and said, oh, we're perfect for this. We can do this. And we're right around the corner. and I have all of this in email. I'm a very stickler for keeping paperwork, so I have all the texts and emails, and so in my mind, it's no different than him walking into our house and stealing, $13,386 right from our checkbook, and then we had to pay an additional $2,000 for a lawyer that we got nothing from, and we're still living in the same house, still needing the same renovations that we can't afford now because our heat never went down, our electricity never went down. So basically we just wrote him a check and he left.
Thank you, Bob. Thank you, Tammy. Senator Norris.
Yes, so Tammy, correct me if I'm wrong, so he cashed the check, the window never came in, and the work by contract was never accomplished, never finished.
It wasn't ever started.
Okay, and you were told from the state's attorney's office that they could not pursue criminal charges against him, and it's civil now at this point in time?
Correct, because we were listed as a creditor on his bankruptcy charge or his bankruptcy claim. So we have no recourse now except to go after criminally.
Okay.
And that's because there was, I believe there was 5 of us going through with Diane Wheeler who had cases against Dave Johnson and his wife.
And I think the Supreme Court decision talking about, you probably fully aware, is under appeal, particular point in time. And our state's attorney, Franklin, just decided not to appeal that decision. So, and I don't know who did. When Michelle comes in, maybe she can elaborate on it so much for us, if that'd be helpful.
Yeah, well, that would be helpful. Thank you, Tammy. Just so you have an idea, and the public in general has an idea, we'll be hearing testimony from different parties over the coming weeks, and we'll be slowly working through this among many other bills. But thank you for your testimony. Appreciate it. Senator Bohosky, do you have any questions?
I don't think so, but thank you for being here. And I'm so sorry that has happened to you. It sounds really awful.
It's very traumatic because you start to realize you can't trust people. We've always, especially in a close knit community where everybody knows everybody, and then this has happened. But he has since built a brand new house over in New York, living his best life.
Hey, Tammy.
Thank you.
Take care.
Have a great day. Bye-bye.
So, I want to roughly pivot here and see if is Chris online by any chance? No, okay, that's fine. I told him it would be tentative, so we'll get into it for another time.
So I can email him.
Okay, well, I don't want him to feel rushed, and we only have 10 to 15 minutes until 9:30, so I think maybe it'll make more sense if we just go off the air, take a break. We'll be back. The committee can be back at 9:25 just to get settled in.